Hi everyone, welcome back to Let's Do Bonsai. It's later in the day, the sun's still absolutely blaring. Yeah, I'm dripping, it's so hot. But let's get on with the $50 challenge. Tom, like I said, challenge accepted. We're doing this now. Two cameras recording at the same time. How good. Hopefully this will continue to work properly. So now when I've got mucky fingers and mucky everything else, I literally don't have to touch the GoPros, I can just touch the remote. Right, okay, $50 challenge, here we go. So Scott, what did you get? Well, I have the receipt in my pocket. The $50 equates to just over £41 here in the UK. And I spent, I can show you that, I bought a plastic terracotta saucer because there was absolutely no pots. It says a packet of Verg cactus bonsai succulent soil, £4. Well, that was actually £5 when I picked it up in the shop, so the £4 is a bit of a bonus. And then a Mugo pine, £18, for a grand total of £23.93. So I could have almost done another one quite easily with that. But let's get on and see what we can do with our Mugo pine. It's new for me. I've not had a Mugo pine before. By all accounts, it's a good time to work on the Mugo pine in the summer. We are at the end of summer, but by the judging of what we've got, it's going to be warm for quite a while, and plus with the lighting in here, it should be okay for quite a while after that. So let's have a look at this Mugo pine. And here it is. It's a decent sized thing. You can see my hand there. There's lots going on inside. I did pull a lot of this old needles out so I could see into the base. There was a hell of a lot in there. There still seems to be quite a lot more that's dying off on the inside, so we do need to get it out of the pot and trimmed back so that we can get all this old dead growth out, and then we can find its Nabari level and then decide what branches we're going to have and keep for the tree to grow. There is some new growth on it in a couple of places, so that's good. It's a good healthy tree. Not bad for £18, was it? Yeah, £18. So we'll just lift it out of the pot. There's quite a bit of rootage in there. There's some mycorrhiza in there as well. We'll try not to disturb that, but what we will do is pull away from the top soil and just see, you know, what's in at this base level. See if we can find a rooting level of this tree. It comes down quite a bit on this side, and then you've got a big gap on the side that I've just turned towards the camera. So we'll just pull the soil out radially and just see what we can expose for our Nabari, our top root level. Hopefully it will go down quite a ways, because the pot that I've ended up with is quite shallow, and I'm rather hoping that we end up with a, you know, when we chop some of these bottom roots off, we end up with quite a shallow root base, or a root base that I can filter out quite a bit. Decided not to use the tools that we reviewed and demoed last time. purely because I'm going to give them away to a viewer. It'll have to be somebody who lives in the UK, because they're really tightening up on sending things out and about. So it'll be a case of somebody in the UK winning that. But hopefully you'll have enjoyed the review of the kit, and it is there in the Amazon.com website with the affiliate link that I put on in the last video. So there's quite a bit of work to do to get down. I'll get down to it and then we'll carry on talking. So I'm just getting in with a chopstick just to get the soil away so that we can expose this root base. It's taking quite a bit of work. There's a lot of roots in this tree. I don't really want to damage it too much, and I'd like to keep a lot of the mycorrhiza that's in there to, you know, stay in and support the tree. But yes, the root has filled the pot and it's just been growing around and all over the tree. Absolutely gone wild. Quite a bit of hard work, but we are losing the old needles into the bargain. So if we can just, you know, prise the roots free ever so slightly, release the soil. We're going to keep a lot of this soil in. We only want to be adding a little bit of new soil around. We'll go for a major repot at a later date. I just want to be able to get down to where the soil level can be for our new root level, and I think it's going to be somewhere around, if I can show you, somewhere around here. So there's a little bit to take out on the top. We'll just keep using our fingers and chopstick to agitate and release the soil. I'm absolutely dripping with sweat. It's so warm in here, which will be good for the pine really. We don't want it to be too hot, but it's certainly going to be warm enough to be, you know, to enjoy it as a summer day. They do quite a bit better in a summer for a repot, so I've read, so I'm told, and if I'm wrong, well, there'll be plenty of people out there that will tell me, and I'm sure the tree will tell me, but I can only go by what I've found out. So we'll continue this hard work on the top of the root ball, getting rid of some of this soil at the top. There's lots of these roots that are going all over, but I'm not going to be too worried about that. We've got some high level roots there which will just poke the soil away. We'll lose some of the higher ones, and then we'll be able to work out. It'll help with the branch selection if we lose any branches as a result of the minor root work that we're going to do to get our new nabari. Normally I'd be washing these roots out, getting everything off, but the mycorrhiza that was in there is going to help support the tree. It's natural, it's grown with it, it's already doing a job, and we just need to take some of these top roots off because they're doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. That one's a nice flowing root, that can stay. That flows out nicely. But we'll get rid of the root that I've cut off the top. Any root that's left in there will die, and the plant will eat it along with the mycorrhiza, and it will refeed itself, so that will be additional food and nutrition. We've got quite a bit of high level rootage here that does some weird stuff, and I'm not sure whether I can reorganize it and redirect it. It's kind of high. There's lots of roots going up and around and down. We'll just get in and take these high roots off because they are going to affect our new nabari level. Hopefully it won't hurt the tree too much. And apart from chopping the bottom of the root ball off, that's pretty much going to be it for the root work. So I've just tidied up a little bit of the soil that was filling up the tray there, and we've got quite a few high level roots that just still need to come off of our nabari. Some of them will stay because they flow nicely, and some of them have just got to go. So we'll just make sure our new root level is exposed, keeping a couple of these higher roots but getting rid of as many as we can. I might just get a root hook if this is still going to be problematic with my little rake, but it's coming. I don't really want to do too much more because I'm going to chop some of the bottom part of the root ball off with a saw. So there's all this root here that was attached to the bottom of the tree. We'll just cut it to get it free. Some of it's still attached, so we just have to be careful with that. So I think what we'll do now is we'll come in with a saw and we'll cut off the bottom of the root ball. So I've been and got the saw, and I just need to take probably about that much off the bottom layer of the tree, of the root ball. And we'll just rough that out ever so slightly for the roots to be able to come outwards, and hopefully that's going to give enough for it to go into the new pot that we've got, because it's not a proper pot, but there was absolutely no options apart from huge garden pots, which wasn't part of the real deal, and there wasn't any offers on any of them either. So really a training pot would be better, but for the purposes of the challenge it will go into this little saucer of a pot, and we'll just keep those roots going outwards. These longer roots can be cut back, and the top roots can so there we go. It's a nice bit of a root ball. Lots of root that's just going everywhere though. So want to strip it, but that won't do this tree any favours. There's just a few that are coming off the tree and then finding their way around to terrible places. So this one that's wrapping around, I'll just trim that back so that we've got it and we can bring it down readily. Trim it off. That one, trim it off, and then there's one there. We'll just trim it out of the soil and allow it to come down. We'll allow that one to come down and go into what's going to be our new soil, and then all the rest of this come down. We're doing the best we can. Not 100% ideal, but it'll be as radial as we can get it within the confines of what we can do, and that's more than we'd ever really want to be doing to this poor little tree. And I think we'll just trim these ever so slightly. And now we'll look to get it into its pot. But before we do that, there's some work to do to the pot. So the tray that we've got is this shallow verve. Basically it's a tray that would go underneath a pot like a humidity tray, but like I said, they had absolutely nothing else to even think about using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a series of holes in the bottom of this. I've got my Hilti cordless drill with a 5mm high-speed steel HSS bit in there. So the first hole goes in the middle. I'll take the sticker off the bottom. So that's the first hole, and then there's a line that goes around the outside. We'll put a hole everywhere that intersects. We can always use these for wire holes as well to be able to wire the tree into the pot. I'm not going to wire it initially, purely because I didn't buy any wire in with the challenge, and I'd have to go rummaging in all my boxes. So we'll put another hole midway between each of those holes. That does a good job. I'd normally use a slightly bigger drill to tidy up the burring on the back side, but I'm not really too worried about it. The holes are there, it's all good. I can pick most of it off with my nails, so we're okay. So let's get our soil that we bought for the challenge. And the soil that we bought for the challenge is Verve Cactus Succulent Bonsai Compost. So there's 5 litres in there, which is more than enough to fill that pot. So more than enough to go around the soil that we've got in that tree. Now what we need to do is we need to look at our tree and make some decisions for how it's going to look. Now in there, hopefully you can see the trunk goes up, and then there's a branch that comes off and goes down. In fact, no, it doesn't. It meets another one, that's just a junction. It comes up and goes across, and all of that is attached to that piece, and then the rest of it is attached to this piece that comes off here. That goes up, and then you've got like a barbell effect there where it goes off on both sides, and then you've got some of these little branches that are growing off. So we could take either of these full branches off, trunks I mean, sorry, either of these full trunks away. We could try and split it and try and grow 2, but you don't know which way, you know, the roots are going with the veins, etc. So this part has quite a lot of tree on it. It has, like I say, most of that, but it's so difficult to see which is which. I think what we'll do is we'll leave both trunks in and come back to that at a later stage. What we will do is we're going to remove some of these little branches off of the sub branches, just to tidy it up a little bit. There's lots of little bits just to take off, and that kind of gives us a potential front, something interesting to look at there, and then we can go off and make much more branch selection up at the top. Immediately though, as we look at it, this one that comes off splits into 1, 2, 3, and it's a case of choosing which 2 are the most interesting. There's one that comes all the way around the back here, and then there's one that goes diagonally away, one comes out the side, and there's one that comes out on the front. Oh. Decisions, there's lots of decisions to this. What we will do is we're going to tidy up all the bits that can really be tidied up. There's some dead branching, leave some room for dieback on some of them, but there's quite a bit of dead bits, so we'll tidy those up first before we make any major branch selection. And that's even if we do. Out of this section here, there's a number of branches that are going up and competing with each other, so we'll take those off. They're all in with each other and competing for the same space, so that's not ideal. leaving a bit of room for some of this to die back. Then there's quite a few sections where this splits into so many different branches, so we'll just take a few more little bits out. The ones that we definitely don't want, we'll keep working on that. There's some dead pieces down the bottom here. There's a dead one that leaves the branch there, dead one that splits into three. One goes straight up and into the top of the tree, so we'll take that out. I don't know whether any of these will root, whether you can root cuttings of a Mugo pine. That's something for me to look into. That one goes back up and in, competing. Series of pathetic branches, little branches. Take those off. Again, lots coming from the same point but going straight up, so we'll take those away. There's going to be two coming off the side of that branch and going up. We'll take those away. That one still goes into four. Two of them go straight up and in, so we'll take those away. And then so much happening on this inside here, we'll just clip loads of those out and get rid of them. There's plenty more to take their place. This one doesn't look very healthy, but it's one of the main ones. This one comes back into the plant, into the tree, so that's got to go. There's one down there on the inside that comes back in on itself, that has to go. So many branches and so many options. We're going to be spoilt for choice going forward because I'm not going to take them all off. Just the obvious ones that definitely need to go. A couple in there that need to come off, so we'll take those away. Multiple coming off at the same point there. We'll have to look at that and see which ones to select. A little bit coming out of the front. Dead bit coming off the side there. I'm absolutely dripping with sweat. I'm going to have to get this potted, and if I'm suffering like this, the tree must be also. So I think if we get this potted into this little tray, at least we've got something we can work with going forward. We can get it watered, stop it being overstressed. We'll just put a bit of soil into the bottom of that pot. Mix that in, hopefully you can see that. Some of these roots are just a bit too long, so we'll trim them back. And now we're going to mound it up and get it in to the soil. So we'll get this soil. Now I'm going to have to use my hands, I think, for this. Just keep turning it and working the soil into the roots. Turn it again. It's quite low on this side, so it's going to have to be a case of hold it in and push it in, Fire it in, Tom, fire it in. I'm firing it in. So at least that's in, and we can get our chopstick, hold the tree in position, fill in all these air pockets that we've created. When we water it, give it a really good water, it will certainly work its way in. If only they did these little trays just a little bit deeper, eh? So, maybe not a straight up bonsai for less than $50, but certainly a tree that you can say is well on its way for $50. Lots of decisions going forward with the canopy. There's just too much to do, and I'm so hot. Oh, okay. This camera should have been recording. I don't know when it stopped. That's our Mugo pine in its pot. I'll get some moss put around those roots. We'll give it a good water, and we'll make some decisions about those branches going forward. So we're back with the Mugo pine. I've taken some moss off some other trees to protect the roots that were at the top, and that's gone on quite nicely. Hopefully that'll bed on well. There is still so many branches. Okay, so we're back. It's a little bit dark in here now because we had all sorts of issues earlier. The batteries ran out. The both GoPros overheated and switched off. So when I come to edit the videos, I will see what you did and didn't get. We have a whole lot of work to do inside the branching of the tree. We need to find out which branches we want to keep, which ones we've got to get rid of. There's a load of points within the branching where it goes into, instead of going from 1 into 2, it goes from 1 into 3, 4, 5. So there's going to be a lot of choosing of branching going forwards. I would have done all that now, but given the fact that we've run out of power and steam on the old camera and they overheated, you missed me putting the moss on. So the moss is in position looking after the roots. We're just going to re-water the whole tree and keep this in a nice safe spot, because we didn't wire it in, so we don't want it being knocked, we don't want it being hit and disturbed. We just want it to grow and recover. But for $50 or less than $50, I think my total was £23.93. I think we did really well. There's some ongoing styling issues to be dealt with. We would have done it all today, or most of it today, but as we run out of go-go juice on the old GoPro. We're just going to let it be, and hopefully the tree will survive. Okay, so that's going to do it for today. As you can see, the evening's wearing on. It's a bit darker out here now, a lot cooler, a nice little breeze. I'm loving it. I was absolutely dripping in there doing that $50 challenge, but as I understand it, I've now completed the $50 challenge and I get to challenge 3 individuals. Now, I've been away that long. Most of the people that I would have challenged have already done it, so I'm not going to re-challenge people that have already done it, but I challenge Ryan Horton of Horton Bonsai. I challenge Jared of Jarhead Bonsai, and I challenge, if anybody can tell him I've done it, because I doubt if he watches my challenge, the great David Easterbrook. I remember when he came onto YouTube, and one of his first videos I commented on saying that his channel would explode, and indeed that's what it's doing. His channel is rocketing. The guy's really good at what he does. I'll put a link to all 3 of those channels down below in the comments. But if you've got any comments to me about the Mugo Pine, with it being my first, feel free. Give me grief, give me positivity, anything you like. But for today, that's going to do it from me. So get out there and make the best of the rest of your day. Be kind to each other, animals and the planet. And as always, I will see you again in the next one.